Get ready for Transformational Tuesday with America's original radio psychic, Dr. Linda Salvin, featuring television star, naturopath, and educator Sharyn Wynters, creator of Healthy Living the Wynters Way, in conversation with expert guests and alternative healing methods with products, solutions, and supplements for nutrition, physical activity, and the latest thinking on lowering the risks of disease and improving your health and well-being. For nearly 30 years as a syndicated talk show host and metaphysical clinician, Dr. Linda has helped thousands of people worldwide solve problems on the air and in person with her insights and solutions. So pull up a chair, turn it up, and get ready for a visit with the one and only Dr. Linda. And now, live from Los Angeles, ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Linda Salvin.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the new Dr. Linda Salvin Transformational Tuesday show right here all over the internet. You're going to listen probably through Talk for TV or the Women's Network or Dr. Linda Salvin on YouTube or Dr. Linda Salvin on Facebook. And you can hear me at Dr. Linda Salvin Radio. We're live on my own radio station. All the different platforms have come together for you to listen to the show. And of course, the replays will be uploaded. You can listen to podcast or watch the video on YouTube. This show is about you and your health and transforming and informing you to become a better, healthier person, especially in today's day and age with all the chemicals that we're exposed to, the foods that we're exposed to, the environmental influences. Health is not just your body being in a state of, quote, disease, which is disease, or if you have an infection, but it's also how you take care of your body, because the body is the temple to the soul, and you want to be in the best shape possible, whether it's through exercise, food, combating certain disorders, allergies, chemical exposures, or whatnot, to make you healthier. This show is going to be co-hosted with a friend of mine by the name of Sharyn Wynters. You can bring Sharyn on and we'll introduce Sharyn. And you're going to meet Sharyn, who, hi, Sharyn's a naturopath and an author and has been doing this for over 40 years. Flip the pages, please. The information you're going to receive on this show is going to be viable. It's going to be valuable. We're going to give you information on where to buy certain products that we believe in and we know that work, as opposed to you going to the market or any big box store and buying 18 supplements thinking you're getting what your body needs. Sharyn's the master of all this, and Sharyn knows the elements, she knows the ingredients, she knows how it hits your body. So without any ado, we're going to introduce ourselves since it's the first time on this network. And I would like you to meet Sharyn Wynters. Thank you for doing this, Sharyn. We've been planning this for months and it's finally here.
Well, Dr. Linda, I am so honored that you have asked me to co-host with you because you're a living legend. So,
so are you.
Glad that every day that there's no tag on my toe is a good day.
That's true. There's no tag on the toe. That's a good name for a show. No tag on the toe.
No,
maybe we should change it.
My toe today.
No tag on the toe. Transformational Tuesday. We can add the TTTs. No tag on the toe.
Well, thank you.
Sharyn, thank you, because I've watched you and known you for several years now. We met through a mutual friend, and then we got involved with a health company together and started improving health and wellness for other people. And you're an educator. I'm an educator. You're also a very well-known actress, and I'm a very well-known talk show host. So together we can put the industry experience. Why don't you give people a little background about you from the acting and how you got into the field and where you are as a naturopath and what you've done?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Ooh, let's rewind. So I came out to California when I was 18, and 2 weeks later I landed the starring role of Catgirl in the original Batman TV show. I thought that, I want to be an actress, and didn't really know that much, but I started to study my craft and really became a serious actress. But what I'm most noted for is Batman.
Yeah. A lot of people weren't even born in those days. I grew up watching Batman, of course, with Adam West.
Thank you so much for pointing that out.
But it's our experience. It helps us give more to the people out there because we've lived it, experienced it, and we've watched it change. Go on.
And so when I was 25, I got cancer. And back in those days, I didn't know anybody that had cancer, and I decided I'd rather die than be cut up. And it put me on this mind, body, spiritual path. And through you and I know there are no coincidences. Everybody that comes into your life, there's a reason why somebody comes into your life. And I ran into a woman who had terminal cancer, who they opened and closed and gave her 6 months to live. And she told me about a dentist in Grapevine, Texas, by the name of Dr. William Donald Kelly, who was curing cancer through nutrition. And I remember my eyes rolling up, right? Yeah, some doctors can't handle this, but some dentist in Texas is curing cancer. And she looked at me, she goes, "What do you have to lose?" And I've always been a gut person. I've always trusted my gut. And on November 22nd, I remember the date because I had to fly into Dallas, and they are having a parade for the, years of Kennedy being assassinated there. And I got into a cab, and he asked me where I was going, and I said, "Well, going to Grapevine." He says, "Nobody goes to Grapevine." Now Grapevine's an incredible city. I was there last year. I mean, I couldn't believe it. It was like,
well, of course, it exploded like everything else when it started growing. You got there when it was still rural, and no man's land.
Cab driver pulled up, and next to Dr. Kelly's office was a funeral parlor, and I remember.
Oh, geez.
I remember thinking to myself, well, if door number 1 doesn't work,
I could door number 2. That's funny.
But that day, November 22nd, my life changed. And I met Dr. Kelly, and he put me in his dentist chair, and he said, "Well, the first thing that has to go is your silver fillings." And I had no idea. I had no consciousness. I had no idea that everything that I was putting in, on, and around my body was the cause of disease. And he came back an hour later. He told me everything that was in my body, where I had my cancer, and what I needed to do if I was going to live. And he said the only thing that was keeping me alive was my spiritual being. And I didn't even know what that meant.
Strong. Yeah, so strong with the will to live.
And I remember coming home that night with a box filled with vitamins, minerals, enzymes, and all this stuff. And I remember sitting in, I had a townhouse at the time in Beverly Hills. And I sat there and I started reading this book of what I needed to do. And I was so overwhelming that I just broke down and cried.
It is overwhelming because there are naturopaths, there are holistic methods, there are anything outside Big Farm does exist and can help. And a lot of people in society don't want others to know about it because Big Farm, hospitals, the cancer wheel make money keeping us sick, getting chemo, eating the wrong foods. I just read the article where the water's causing obesity. I just changed my water because I drink 3 liters a day and my body's changing. And I think it might even have to do with the water. Everything affects us somehow. You went on this journey and you got cured. You cured yourself.
Yeah, and it wasn't an easy journey. I mean, there were no cell phones, there were no computers. I had to get rid of everything. I had to get rid of all my toxic detergents. I had to get rid of my cleaning products. I had to get rid of my makeup. I mean, everything, because everything had chemicals in it. And that night, I was taking a class. The only person that really knew how sick I was a good friend of mine named Susan Strasberg. Her father was Lee Strasberg. And Susan opened my world to metaphysics. She was really a good friend with Jess Stern, who wrote some of the books on Edgar Cayce.
Soulmates. He wrote the #1 book on soulmates. We can get into that in a whole nother show. Go on. I refer his book all the time. Yeah.
And that night we were taking a course. It started our first course on mind dynamics, how to get into your alpha brain level waves. And so that journey started for me. And, long story short, I went back to Kelly 6 months later, and my cancer markers were coming down and down. And I mean, it wasn't an easy journey. And I didn't tell anybody. I didn't know anybody that had cancer. Now 1 in 2 people are going to get some form of cancer.
It's a whole different world now. But back in the 70s, it was rare. It was the big C word that nobody really talked about back then.
Well, nobody. I was ashamed. And so I know what it's like to be sick. I know what it's like to be alone. I know what it's like to be in fear. And so that's what I try to help my clients move through that, because they frighten you. They wanted to give me a hysterectomy. And I remember going back in 3 months and my markers were getting better. And the doctor said to me, I don't understand it. They're better. And so in my naivety, I said, oh, well, I went to this dentist in Grapevine, Texas, and he's giving me all this nutrition. And he started laughing at me. And I said, wait a minute.
Yeah, they don't.
You're offering me.
They're just now starting to teach nutrition and alternative methods in the major universities. I want to just interrupt you there, because when I was in college, I got my bachelor's in health education. Then I went on to Michigan, University of Michigan. I got a master's in public health epidemiology, which is a big word today with the pandemic. But back then, in 75 to 77, I studied chronic diseases and cancer, and I did brain tumor research, and I did other types of cancer research. And back then, Legionnaire's disease was the big epidemic.
Out of Philadelphia, where I'm from.
Is that where it all started? Was Philadelphia?
I think the Bellevue Stratford.
It was the hotel, and then it was on the ships.
Right.
But that was back then. There's always something every couple of years. But they weren't really teaching holistic methodology back then. But what I do remember, and I couldn't figure it out, and I kind of shied from it, is I was always peek into the nutrition department. They had a whole educational department where you could major in nutrition. I thought, oh, I don't need that. Well, I was addicted to diet pills to stay thin. Okay. Because I didn't know just how I was brought up. You can take a pill, you'll be thin. Well, I obviously don't take the pills anymore, but I'm healthier, but I'm heavier. The medical model has its theories. A lot of it hasn't changed. A lot of it has changed with technology. Then there's people that believe in alternative methods. Sharyn is one. I am one. I went from curative to healing and holistic. Sharyn became educated in naturopathic medicine. Why don't you talk about that for a few minutes, how you studied to actually embrace yourself to help other people in the field?
Well, once I was cured, of cancer, I call it a health opportunity, because your subconscious doesn't know a truth from a lie. So when you say I have, it just the subconscious doesn't know how to discern. So you're just putting I have. So I always try to help my clients to say I have a health opportunity, so that you're not saying I have diabetes, I have cancer.
So we're not reinforcing the problem. We're now going to affirmative
right.
action.
We don't need to own our diseases.
No. And disease is broken down as dis-ease, where we can break it up as to what's going on. And
but there is really not a lot of nutritional studies in school. I mean, the doctors now, to become a doctor, it's sponsored by Big Pharma. They learn about drugs and cutting. There's no money in nutrients, so they don't learn about nutrition or preventative. They don't like that, because
they're adding one course per year, from what I understand. I went back to Ann Arbor a couple of years ago and looked at their medical and public health school modules to see how it had changed in the 40 plus years since I was there. And they're starting to go across the board now, but it's still very, cookbook, textbook, cut and dry. And you're right. It's about giving you a pill or giving you some surgery or giving you a different type of protocol that a lot of times will make you even sicker because you're reacting to the medication. I saw that in my mother when she died of cancer, and I cleaned out her medicine cabinet. She must have had 70 different medications. Like, oh my God, What were they doing?
My mother did too.
But I said, why are you taking all this? Because I saw her at one point when she was first diagnosed. She goes, what's keeping me alive? I said, no, it's killing you.
Yeah.
But our parents came from a different generation. Our generation is more open. So
some of us are awake.
No, there are some that don't. But the beauty of what I want to do with Sharyn going forward, folks, is you hear we have a background, we have our journey, we've studied, we've learned personally, we've had our own inner struggles with healthcare issues. I've always had an eating disorder. Sharyn's had the cancer. Thank God I haven't had cancer, but I've had other accidents. I did have a hysterectomy. It was either, I said to the doctor, I didn't want to be a statistic. He said, we have a choice. I could be a statistic and being sterile or underground. So I chose to stay alive, like no tag on my toe type of thing. But I want this show to
That's what they told you at the time.
At the time in 1991, there was no other. I was dying. I mean, I was hemorrhaging. I was going to die in 3 days. It was bad. I did not really have a choice. There wasn't enough time to Band-Aid it. But it's when I became a healer. It's like I had surgery, became a healer. For those that don't know me, I'm a world-renowned psychic, which happened after being in a commercial airline plane crash. So all these different events elevated my.
We'll talk about that. I don't even. I know you have
parts of it.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, in 1977, I graduated the University of Michigan with a master's degree in public health epidemiology. 4 years later, while on company business, I ended up in occupational and industrial health out of school because I did take some industrial hygiene courses, which is industrial healthcare, where I was studying ventilation or lighting, excuse me, chemical exposure, how it might affect people by inhaling or ingesting or absorbing, because we absorb chemicals like Sharyn was talking. You don't know if it's in your shampoo. You don't know if it's in your detergent. You don't know if it's in your dishwasher. So we're affected by everything because we absorb, we ingest, we inhale. It's all how we survive. So I was 4 years out of school, and I had received a job offer for an insurance company, and I took this job, and something told me, just in the gut, something was going to happen. Wasn't sure what, but I did it. And 2 months after I had started the position, the company doesn't exist anymore, neither does the airline. The plane crash landed on my way home from San Jose Airport on February 17th, 1981. My partner, Leo, and I were scheduled for the 4:45 flight from San Jose down to John Wayne Airport in Orange County, California. And I said to my partner, he's sitting across from me, and we're in the coffee shop, and I looked out, I said, doesn't it look like it's going to crack there? Because I saw a fuelage or an exhaust settlement line on the body of the plane behind the wing. Well, we crash landed. The plane cracked in half right where I had the vision.
My word.
An engine fell off. The landing gear was stripped. And New York Times called it the firefall miracle or something. I have the old clips, but the probability of all of us surviving was 1 billion to 1, because one plane was taking off, we were coming in, and you can't have two planes on the same runway. You just don't do that. But we crashed. They took off. I had an out-of-body experience coming down the ramp, which looks like a river raft. I ended up 50 feet outside my body for 4 months. And again, like Sharyn said earlier, there was no internet, folks. This is 1981. Internet didn't hit to 1996. I had no one to talk to. I didn't know what was going on. So I hit my knees. I ran out in the field, and I remember seeing the 405 freeway right at the airport edge, and then panning, and I saw the beacons from the rescue team, and then I saw the terminals, and then I panned, and I thought, oh my God, I just survived a plane crash. I saw the plane on its belly on fire, and the fire trucks were there, and people were running. But I was out of my body 50 feet on the left, and I stood 5 feet 8 on the right, and it lasted for 4 months. 4 months. Oh. I kept saying I'm out of my body. Nobody understood what I was talking about. They thought I was wacko. So did I. But it was an out-of-body near-death experience. Nobody talked about these things back then, just like nobody talked about cancer when you were going through cancer. So you and I both are like pioneers in an area that hadn't really been touched, Sharyn, that has become more mainstream today. Okay. So I ended up in the hospital for 4 days at Cedars, and then I was back at my parents so they could help me. And then I had these weird God consciousness things happen that I don't want to get into on this particular show, but it was the beginning of this whole spiritual psychic event. I was no longer just who I was. I literally changed that day. Yeah. And I became what's known as a walk-in, which is where a soul takes over when you're close to death. And there's books out, and then like with Jess Stern, I would read all the books, and started on the radio in 94. And I've done all of that. But I became psychic on February 17th, 1981, due to a plane crash. Then I got hit by a fire truck in 82 at Valley Vista and Beverly Glen. Fire truck lost its gear shift. I had another out-of-body experience, and I totaled a car at Palms and McLaughlin in 84. And I had the white light experience, and I was given the choice to live or die. And when the paramedics came to get me out of my car, I said, they want me off the planet. They want me off the planet. Because all this psychic spiritual stuff going beyond our third dimension was taking me beyond things I never heard of. But over time, I integrated, I became whole, but I became very metaphysical, very psychic. I do healing. I was channeling for 22 years, the dead people. I can do all of that, but it was all because of all of the traumas and the accidents. It's not like I went out one day and said, oh, I'm going to go do this. That's not how it happened. So with all that experience, I was on radio for 18 years, AM, FM, cable, and then dabbling around, and then recently built my own station to go back and give more messages. There's a whole new audience today. There's a whole new generation today that still needs to hear the same message, if not more. So that's how I got to where I am. Sharyn got to here. She's done a lot of studying. She's got degrees. I've got degrees. We have personal experience. Eventually, we'll get the chat going where you guys can ask questions, or you can email us. You'll get all that contact information at the end. But today, we wanted to focus on fake food.
Fake food.
Take it, Sharyn, because we don't know what we're eating anymore.
Americans, we're being lied to. We've been made to suffer, and at the most, we've been other times to die unnecessarily. And why is that? And that's because of big corporations. They want us to be sick so that they can make big profits. And we think the government's going to help us, but the government is not our friend. They're not going to help us. We've been fooled to think it's cool to eat fake food. Celebrities now are coming out saying it's good to eat bugs. That's
the insects that are inside your food. If you look at the ingredients, you will find insects, and some of it's delicacy. Not for me, thank you. No.
And our food is slowly poisoning us.
It is. And it's in the gut. A lot of our disease starts in the gut, right?
That because it's weakening our ability to not only to survive, but to resist. The standard American diet, SAD, was designed to keep us addicted, overweight, depressed, and medicated. You have the standard American diet, and you get, which is SAD, you get the standard American diseases, diabetes, cancer. And then you go to the standard American doctor that gives you the standard American drugs so that you can have a standard American death.
Yep. It's the one cycle over and over again. And they think you're crazy if you don't want to follow the wheel.
In 1980, Americans were perhaps the healthiest people on the earth. Not anymore. We're number 50, and that's including countries as poor as Cuba, and our infant mortality rate
has gone up. Ours has.
Okay,
yes, because the mothers are ingesting the wrong
better than us.
No, overseas, absolutely, different countries around the world. I can pull some of the statistics, but as far as chemicals in our food, on the crops, in the boxes, in a packaged meat department, whatever, glyphosates, they're everywhere. We're ingesting a chemical beyond our awareness. Why don't you talk about the glyphosates?
Well, first of all, there's a reason that so many Americans are depressed. We spend more money on antidepressant than any other drug. And, it's because of the fake food. Fake food is filled with artificial colors, artificial sweeteners, artificial preservatives. And it's
depressing the system.
Right.
And our moods.
But my question is, why are so many people committing suicide now? And why are so many people depressed? And I think one of the main reasons is a chemical called glyphosate, which is Roundup, or Monsanto. Monsanto just paid out $30 billion in lawsuits. They paid a $238 million lawsuit to a farmer. It causes, a lot of blood cancers like non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, things like that. But $238 million was paid out to this farmer. And they have over 30,000 more lawsuits coming up. But you know what? For them, it's just the cost of doing business. Yeah. It's doing business. And glyphosate is found in 75% of our food. And what it does is it destroys the gut microbiome. And
So does that mean we can't digest food properly, or we start gaining
Not-
weight
not
more, or the
only that,
constipation, all of the problems, right?
when it destroys your gut biome, it also destroys your serotonin. And your serotonin are the hormones that
Make you
control
feel good.
our emotions. It's the happy hormone. And so glyphosate, maybe it's not going to give everybody cancer, but it definitely will inhibit your body's ability to digest food properly. And it's contributing to this plague of depression. And it's in 75% of food and 90% in beer. 2 weekends
It's
ago,
in beer too.
90%. I was with a gentleman in at an event. Really nice guy. He works in Oregon at a beer making beer, and so he's been drinking beer for years. He developed brain cancer, and he's on the protocol that we work with, and it's been now 10 years. My husband died of brain cancer, and he was a very, very healthy guy, and he died of brain cancer. So, I mean, these diseases like Parkinson's, Alzheimer's,
Dementia, obesity, high
MS,
blood pressure.
all directly linked to what you're putting in your mouth. And
Well, the fake food, you know, I was in New York a few months ago. I bought a bag of shredded carrots. That bag should have wilted within 3 weeks if it was real food. I threw it away 5 months later, and it still looked the same as the day I bought it.
Do you know?
So I don't know what it was. I don't think they're carrots.
It could have a peel on it, which now they don't have to market it. But the other thing is, we eat a credit card worth of plastic a week. So we
just in all the food that we buy or eat or cook.
You're eating plastic. Most of these nutritional powders come in plastic. You're absorbing plastic.
So we're becoming android and plastic, and we're going to become sicker if we don't take care of ourselves. We have week after week after week after week after week. We're going to be doing this for a year, Sharyn. Let's start talking about some of the preventative measures. There are some products that you and I take and promote to our clients, and we can help people detox their body. You want to talk about some of them?
So I have a whole, we work with a 90-day program. I call it the ultimate lifestyle transformation, because in 90 days, you'll be transformed. So many people are just cleansing. But, you know, one of my mentors was Ann Wigmore, and she started the Hippocrates Institute, where people would go for cancer. And her whole thing was wheatgrass. And so I've been going down to Optimum Health Institute for 30 years, you know, doing the 3 or 4 times a year cleansing and doing, I don't have to do that anymore. But it's not enough to cleanse. And Ann Wigmore said that in order to bring your body back to a healthy state, you need to cleanse, which is detox. You need to nourish, and you need to repair. So all these people are doing, I'm doing this cleanse, I'm doing that cleanse, but you're wasting away your muscles. You're not, what are you putting into your body?
Well, they need the protein and the amino acids, and people don't see that. For example, what's the big cleanse? The lemon with the cayenne and whatever else they put with the cayenne. And all you do is you're burning your stomach and you're starving, right?
Yeah. So it's the products that we work with and it are like, you take what's called superfoods, and these are superfoods are not just like a green drink. I owned a raw food vegan restaurant, high end, for a few years, and so I was very I had the ability to get a green juice, and I knew it was organic, and so I closed it before COVID, and I started juicing myself, and I am not that neat. I got to tell you, you know. I had carrot juice all over here and beet juice over here and some green in my white kitchen. So I figured, okay, I'm not doing this anymore. and I started to go to Press Juicery, and I walked, you know, getting my 2 juices a day. And I walked in and I said, so this is organic? And they go, oh, no.
They don't need to No, half the time
we try to be organic. So I said, so when you're concentrating these juices, I'm getting a concentration of pesticides and chemicals. And,
the Wall Street Journal, and Time, a couple of years ago, it was quoted in a couple of articles that even Whole Foods admitted only 30% of their food might be totally organic. You can't have 100% organic foods everywhere all the time. Jeff Bezos was quoted in some of those articles, and he knew it. But look what he created.
I was fooled. I was taking this really high-end protein powder that a lot of people take that came in plastic, okay? But I checked, it had glyphosate in it.
Even if we think, while you're trying to cleanse, you're getting sick or you're intoxicated. Even if you
think you're doing something healthy, most people aren't. People come to me and I say, what's your diet like? Oh, I eat healthy. So I get specific. I want to know what your concept is of eating healthy. Because most people are not eating healthy. We're so addicted to all of this. You walk into a supermarket and it's packages and packages. It's all that you go straight down, and it's only at the ends of the market that you're going to find real food. And is it real food anymore? Has it been sprayed? Has it have pesticides? Does it have chemicals on it? Does it have a peel on it? When I opened up my restaurant, we carried wine. So I did a lot of research on wine, and even the organic wines in Napa Valley had glyphosate in it, because this field is sprayed right here with glyphosate, Roundup. You don't think it's going to spread to the next farm over here? It's going to carry it. And if they do, those farmers have to pay for that.
Well, there's an article out that if we ingest the chemical, it also contributes to obesity. It's a new epidemic, right?
Everything we destroy our gut. I mean, I would say almost 99% of the people walking around have leaky gut, because that glyphosate destroys your gut. It destroys the villi. The glyphosate destroys your hormone serotonin. And we need to repair our gut. So in 90 days, I think 87% of the product that we use will be out of your body. And you can even go get a glyphosate test. I've seen it from this product before, and then 90 days later.
Watch how your levels shift.
And by the way, there's a third party, the Detox Project, gold standard. It's the number one product for removal of glyphosate by a third party company.
I haven't heard this one. That's interesting.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, those that are going to listen to the show or download or whatever later, who catch on to Transformational Tuesday, how can we help people who want to heal or detox, learn to transform their own gut and detox? What can they do, or how can they reach you? And you can explain to them the product. It's just a pill.
Well, it's more than that. You take these aminos, and these aminos, we need to have. Your body doesn't need protein; it needs the amino acids from the protein, and these aminos go right into your muscles in 23 minutes.
23 minutes, but it's also
it's
organic protein.
It's pre-digested, which is it was developed by a doctor who was treating cancer patients who were in comas. Their muscles were wasting away. They still use it in hospitals, this formula. And then you make a drink of superfoods. It's living food. And when it disperses in water, it becomes alive. And superfoods have I call it superpowers, like Batman had superpowers, or Superman. Superman had Catwoman didn't have superpowers, but Batman did. I'm actually doing never mind. That's a whole.
No, what are you doing? Like the memorabilia thing?
I'm doing a show next week. They're going to show my thing. I just got a call from England. He does Batman, people from Batman. I'm probably one of the few living
Yeah, Adam's gone. I read Adam. He was a client of mine for a while. Has a
Burt Ward and me and Julie Newmar. We're still hanging in there. But but superfoods. So one serving of this drink is equivalent to 6 servings of microgreens, and microgreens are superfoods. So I have to maybe drink 10 servings of a green drink to get the nutritional value.
So get one of these.
Not what you eat that's important. It's the nutritional value. So high nutrient dense foods with low calories is really the secret to long life. And by the way, these aminos, they're pre-digested. So if somebody's doing intermittent fasting,
it's not going to interfere.
It's not going to interfere with it. And then you make a super drink, you make your power shake, and then you take one of the capsules that kills the glyphosate. And at night you do what's called sour tart cherries. And these sour tart cherries are these cherries that are grown in Italy, and they come over in glass bottles. And one of the things that it does, it's equivalent to 6 servings of antioxidants of blueberries, but it restores your serotonin. And it also rebuilds your melatonin. And most people are melatonin deficient. And taking melatonin is dangerous because it destroys your pineal gland. And once you start taking it, you destroy your own melatonin. So it's pretty prevalent. You do that twice.
So it's reversing everything that we've been destroying based on what we think is healthy. You could go to the health food store and see 1,000 different products. Everybody's on the bandwagon for whey protein. I can't digest whey, but I can digest this green stuff. At first, I didn't like it. Now I've acquired the taste for it. But the energy and the clarity.
Well, you didn't like it because your body was probably acidic. But once your body starts to turn alkaline,
then it balances.
So everything is a frequency. Everything in life is a frequency. This is the highest frequency food that you can put into your body. And when you start putting in a high frequency food, the lower frequency foods will leave you from an organic place.
And the cravings change. We don't even want it.
Right. So
don't even want it.
Exactly. So that's what I said. So because willpower, doesn't work. You can only willpower. I mean, I've spent my life, I got to go to this event, next week. So I'm going to fast. I'm not even going to eat. Right. So I'll lose 5 pounds and I go get in my dress and I go to this event and I start eating and I can't stop because my body's so starving. Because there's only 2 reasons why some people are overweight, which is the metabolism isn't functioning correctly, and all overweight people are malnourished. We're all malnourished anyway because we no longer get nutrition from our food. When I was born, a cup of spinach had 1,200 milligrams of iron. Today it has 2. So I'd have to eat 600 cups more of spinach.
Oh, geez, just to get the same amount of nutrition.
And we destroyed our soil. So your body's starving. And when you go on a diet, you lose water, lean tissue, and you start storing fat cells. Those fat cells that you store when you go off the diet multiply. So if you've lost 10 to 15 pounds on a diet,
you're going to gain 20 or 30.
Bingo. And it becomes progressively harder to lose weight because now you've done the very thing that you don't want to do. We're starving. Disease is a starvation. Feed the body what it needs, and that dis-ease will take care of ourselves. And what's so ironic?
What's ironic?
Of medicine, Hippocrates.
Well, he said food is the medicine.
Food shall be medicine, and the medicine shall be your food. And every doctor, when he graduates, they take the Hippocratic Oath. They don't have a clue because none of that exists in our medical modality anymore.
Well, not only that, you see people who are doctors, very educated, very bright, very scientific, very humane, very spiritual, smoking, overweight. They themselves can't get a handle on their own body, which is probably one of the reasons they went to study it. I know I did. Like, well, what's wrong with me? So let me get into the health industry to figure it out. And I still don't have all the answers. But it takes one to know one. You have experience from your own near-death experience with cancer and surviving in a time that it wasn't even time to talk about cancer, let alone pre-internet and everything, that people can Google and figure things out or follow or whatnot. But if people wanted to contact you and learn more about these products that will detoxify the body and the gut And we also have others that deal with DNA nutrition. We have a lot of different angles, folks. Sharyn and I have been working together for a couple of years.
It's been an interesting journey.
It is an interesting journey. It's life. And we've lost a few.
I'd be more than happy. They can email me livinghealth24@aol.com. They can go on to my website, which is wintersway.com. And Wynters is with a WYNTERS, Wynters Way. But just email me. I'm really good at getting back to people.
Yeah, Sharyn will take care of you or get you in the program or answer your questions.
And the other thing I want to say, Linda, we are 99% plastic-free company.
It is, because the elements come either in a foil package. Most of them are foil packages that you just cut open. And
well, that's foil package is made out of hemp, bamboo, and tree sap.
Well, it looks like foil, but it's made out of, but it's all natural. So you're not ingesting any of the plastic that would be coating the.
You can put it in your compost, and it actually makes the soil better as it decomposes.
Well, maybe at some point we'll have people from that organization come on too and go in even deeper with the experience of helping people, since this is still really our introduction show. And we have so many topics. Now, Sharyn, you have a book out which people can buy called The Pure Cure, Pure Cure. And mine's actually due tomorrow. I should be receiving it. So you're going to have to autograph it. How many pages was it?
It's a 500-page book on toxins. So wait. How do I do this?
No, I got you. You're right in the middle. There you go. There you go.
Okay, so you can get it on Amazon. You just Google The Pure Cure. So, I've been doing this a long time, and as I said, my husband died of brain cancer, and I sat for 3 years afterwards because they gave him 4 months. I kept him alive for 2 years, but he still died, and I took him to Germany and did some alternative things, and it was an incredible journey. And then after that, I just needed to get the information out. It's 20 different chapters, 20 different areas of concern, from water to food to EMFs to vaccines to what to do when you travel, what's in your home, and then solutions at the end of each chapter. So you don't need to read it cover to cover. Let's say you want to know what kind of water, because there's so much missing.
Like an encyclopedia
about there's so much. I'm very solution oriented. So that's why I wrote the book, to have solutions. That's why I have solutions for getting rid of glyphosate. Oh, the other thing that it does that we didn't talk about, it gets rid of parasites. There's another product that you take.
There's another product that you take once every couple of months. I love that product. I feel so good when I take it.
Well, it's a process, because you take it when you're on the program. You take it on day 11 and you do it for 10 days, and then you're off for 20, because those parasites will lay eggs. They go into the microfilm and they'll lay eggs.
People don't understand, excuse me, that we have bacteria, viruses, and parasites in our body all the time. That's just who we are. We all live with germs, quote unquote. But some of them are going to be active, and some are going to make you sick, and some are just going to sit there, and some are going to do their own thing. But the parasitical infestation in the gut is really important to detox, cleanse, and release, to help you with the bloating, the digestion, the constipation, the headaches. A lot of people don't understand that a lot of the symptoms that we experience can be as simple as something going wrong in the gut, whether it's the lack of biome or the lack of certain elements, especially with detoxing or releasing the parasitical infestations that we have. You can't see it with your naked eyes. So it's not like you're going to look, oh, there's bugs. It doesn't work that way. But once you start taking it, know, people, this show is not about promoting products. This is about promoting health. It's about helping you. It's about you having choices to become stronger. I'm going to be 70 in January. Okay, so I want to live longer. My dad's turning 94 in a few weeks, and I hope to live as long as him. Just when you're young
and healthier.
And healthier, because the world is getting more dangerous. You want to combat the negative. It's like fighting dark and light. You want to be metaphysical. You want to be spiritual. You want to be healthy. You want to hold on. You want to spread the message without being preachy. But we have about a few more minutes left before we come to the end of the show.
You want a little statistic?
Yeah.
By the time we're 40 years old, 50% of the population will be on some form of medication. By the time you're 50 years old, it's 75%. And if you hit 60 to 65, 9 out of 10 people are on some medication.
I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it.
That's mind blowing. We're one of the few countries that sells drugs on TV. I mean, every commercial.
That started about 20 years ago. I remember getting out of college, and all of a sudden there was blood pressure medicine or heart disease medication or diabetes, because it's the marketing to sell more medication. Go ahead.
No, and if you listen to the commercial, at the end of each commercial, they tell you the side effects. The side effects,
and it's a list that's long,
are worse than the dis-ease that they're telling you to take it for. We bought it. We bought it hook, line, and sinker. We bought what was going on with the whole COVID thing. I mean, that was incredible. And that's a whole other show.
That's a whole other show. That's a whole other show. I got off of medication, and it's a struggle. It's painful to detox after I was on amphetamines for like 13 years because I was like always the chubby little kid with the pretty face. You got to lose weight. So I always had to be thin. But when I found
I was an actor.
Same thing. But there's ways to get there, or I've learned to accept more or less this is my body and just work at it to change again. But going through a detox where there was nobody to help at that time was very painful. When we were doing things pre-internet, clusters of people and groups that were supportive, with a lot of times nobody knew where to go. Like, you didn't know where to go at that time. You had one or two people. I had one or two people. Now you got the internet, and you've got the shows, and you got the podcasts, you got the doctors, and then you got to be careful what you're buying, even though you think it's a great health product. Read the labels, people, or talk to Sharyn or talk to me off the air, and we will help you find the cleanest to get you the healthiest, because you want to be the strongest you can be. It's not about just one product or another. Sharyn's had me take more products in the last 4 years. I don't like this, I don't like that, this I like, this I don't, because we look for the best, the highest quality.
And what I work with is all food. The body is meant to eat food. The body's meant to eat an orange. It is not meant to eat the vitamin C from the orange. When you isolate a vitamin from its whole food form, it becomes nothing more than a chemical, and your body actually has to work harder to break it down to its molecular structure.
Yep. So people don't know that.
All of this, everything that I work with, this company, it's all food. It's all plant-based. They're electrolytes. Everything is. It's incredible to have a company that's plastic-free.
Well, they're into the health and wellness so that we have longevity. We got to wrap this up. It'll show in just a moment when we have the outro, but verbally state your email address again on AOL.
So my email is livinghealth24@AOL. I'm sorry. I'm an AOL. You're just going to have to get over it. I know.
24 must represent 24/7 for health or something.
No, my birthday is May 24th.
Oh, that's right. May 24th. You're a Gemini. That's true.
Me and Bob Dylan.
You and two of my friends are also born on that day. So it's four of you. Yeah.
And so livinghealth24@AOL.com. But you can also go onto my website, which is wintersway.com, WYNTERSWAY. And they can also go on YouTube. I had a TV show based on my book, and each week I would bring in different experts in the field. So I have one on water or on food.
Well, that's what I want to do here. We'll reinvent it and bring it back so we can
educate. Right.
We will get into each chapters. Next Tuesday, we'll be back here with Sharyn Wynters and me, Dr. Linda Salvin, right here on Transformational Tuesday. The replays will be up in about 10 minutes after we close the show. I want to thank you so much, Sharyn, for doing this. We'll come back in a week. Stay backstage as we're going to end the show now. If you have any questions for me, I'm at lindasalvin.com, or you can find me all over the social media platforms. In the meantime, have a great week and stay healthy, everybody. We'll talk to you soon. I guess we should go out now, Rebel. Thank you so much.
Thanks for joining us. We hope you enjoyed Transformational Tuesday. You can reach Dr. Linda at 888-509-1077 or at lindasalvin.com. And Sharyn Wynters at www.wintersway.com. That's Wynters with a Y. Or email livinghealth24@AOL.com. Need a breakthrough of your own? Ready for answers or insights nobody else has? Reserve your own one-on-one in-person chat. Dr. Linda isn't just for other people. Dr. Linda gets results for you. And it's easy. Contact details are on screen now. Just click on lindasalvin.com or call toll-free 888-509-1077. That's lindasalvin.com or toll-free at 888-509-1077.